See, we counted up all the interviews that the coaches do during their 2-hour and 45-minute media sessions, which Clark Lee is right in the middle of. I guess he might have just finished his statements and then the question and answer session. 11 interviews during a 2-hour and 45-minute session.
Good luck.
Tom Hart's joining us right now, voice from the SEC Network and a friend of the show. And I wonder, Tom, how many interviews are you doing during the day? Because you're one of the more sought-after media members that people want to have sit down and talk with them. Are you doing 11 in 2 hours and 45 minutes like the coaches are?
Easily. But here's the thing. People want to hear what the coaches have to say. I'm just a time filler. Like, I'm an innings eater. Okay, those guys are aces. As you know, these radio shows are on all day, and they're like, oh, here comes Hart. Okay, yeah, he can eat up a segment or two. Let's throw a headset on him and just kind of let him go. I think it's important, Phil, to know your role, right? And I know what my role is in that regard. That's
outstanding. And that's exactly what you're here to do as well. So we appreciate you eating some innings with us as well here. So it's Nick Saban that speaks first. Everybody wants to hear what Nick Saban has to say. And he had to know what he was doing. Of course, every word he says is going to be reported if it's in front of any sort of an audience with a microphone. He knew what he was doing, bringing up the Bryce Young potential 7-figure NIL deals that he's got going on, because really when it comes right down to NIL and something like that with Bryce Young, in which it seems like this is the floor now for the Alabama starting quarterback. It's like a recruiting pitch. That's what it felt like.
The guy hadn't started a game for Alabama. I mean, that's the fascinating part, right? I mean, it would have been one thing if going into Tebow's final year, it was $1 million deal for Tim Tebow, or someone coming off of a Heisman campaign, or the hype around Cam Newton, or Tua Tagovailoa, right? Kyler Murray at Oklahoma. This is an unestablished quarterback with, yes, a high ceiling, but an unproven floor to this point. So it's fascinating. I want to stress that I am all for the players getting their share of the pie. And, by the way, if the pie is bigger, then everybody's slice gets a little bit bigger too, which is also fine. I am just a little bit reticent. My fear is that by turning these players into professionals, the fan-player relationship will face a major shift. And that, to me, is what makes college sports unique. You know, you could point to a lot of different guys who this would apply to, a lot of different superstars. Tebow would be a great example. Dak Prescott would be a great example, where they're either from in-state or nearby, but once they're on campus, they're our guy. That's my school. That's my state. That's my football team. That's how fans, especially in the SEC, speak of it, right? I mean, Arkansas is Arkansas football, Arkansas basketball, baseball to an extent, the professional team in the state, right? And so people want to brag on our guys. Look at what we accomplished. I identify with this team because it's my school or my home state or whatever it might be. Do we see a fissure because people can't relate to $1 million endorsement deal? The average Joe, the average fan, can't relate to that. And then are the athletes judged more harshly and treated differently when they don't deliver in big moments? And that might not happen immediately, but I really feel like that's the path that we're going down when it comes to collegiate athletics. And it's going to have to be something that we're all aware of, and athletic departments are going to have to find a way to navigate that.
It is going to be tricky going forward with this type of money that Bryce Young, who, like you said, hasn't started a game. We have seen him on the field, very limited time, but hasn't started a game for the University of Alabama. And the money's only going to go up. And Nick Saban even talked about players having agents. And now that Nick Saban is somewhat on board, do you expect the rest of college football, and especially throughout the rest of SEC media days, for everybody else to fall in line and say how it's good. It would be good for their players as well.
They can try, but nobody is Saban, right? And there's no doubt in my mind, and you guys probably have a better feel for what Dabo said recently, but apparently he had a lengthy media exchange where he was kind of coming from it at a different angle than Saban did. Once again, I don't have Dabo's quotes in front of me. I didn't read that story top to bottom, but there's no doubt in my mind that Nick Saban is aware of what Dabo's stance is, and they compete for a lot of the same players, obviously. Nick Saban's a trendsetter because he's able to sell the process and the team experience and in many ways take the individuality out of college football. By the way, that was his selling point on the team vaccination threshold today too. We had heard before he took the stand, we had heard that upwards of 94% of Alabama players have been fully vaccinated. The number he threw out today was near 90%, so just a shade below. And Greg Sankey mentioned that there are only 6 of the 14 teams who have met the threshold of 80%. By the way, one of those 6 would be Vanderbilt, which would be 100% because they're requiring all of their students to be fully vaccinated. So
Arkansas is another.
Saban's point, which would be, in my opinion, should be copied by every other coach out there. He's like, listen, this is an individual choice, yada, yada, yada. But you're part of a team.
Mm-hmm.
And how does your choice impact our championship aspirations? And how does your choice impact your availability to the team? And what is fair to the team with what you may or may not bring into our facility? We can't control what you do and where you go once you leave this building. We can control you when you're in here. And that's what I saw from teams in the College World Series. I think Texas is one great example. Vanderbilt as well. This is a team goal to win a national championship. And if you value your individuality over the team, then we can't have you put our future as a team at risk. So this is a team goal, even though we can't make it an individual requirement. And I only bring it up and the importance of it because Greg Sankey's time at the podium that's his State of the Union. That is very valuable time. His words matter and his messages have weight. And if Greg Sankey is raised a red flag that this is an issue within the SEC and we got a long ways to go, then I've got to imagine it's a even more pressing issue outside of the SEC, where they don't have the same resources and messaging that the SEC is able to provide its players.
I imagine, Tom, that since it's been such a point of conversation in Hoover and really around the country now with the rise of the Delta variant, and you saw Nick Saban and Greg Sankey both point to the NC State example in the College World Series. And look, I mean, it's different in baseball in the regular season because 1 or 2 losses is not going to eliminate you from the national championship conversation. Football's a whole other thing, and we're having this conversation here at the same time. And I agree with you. You got to look at this from a team perspective, but at the same time, now you're looking at NIL, which is another huge point of conversation in Hoover as an individual thing and how that filters down to the team. So, I mean, these are fascinating conversations that come from divergent sides of the human ego, and it's really amazing that we're talking about these things right now.
That is so true, and so it's going to sound almost counterproductive, but NIL is very much what your individual brand will bear, right? And there is a huge difference if you're the starting quarterback at Alabama versus the left guard. Your marketing power is obviously so much different. But listen, locker rooms understand that certain players in certain positions are treated differently based on their, for lack of a better definition, popularity, right? I mean, generally speaking, the defensive tackle and the quarterback aren't competing for the same girlfriend, okay? People understand that the quarterback runs at a higher level. He's going to get more attention. He's going to be more popular. Also, of course, more responsibility and accountability. So I don't think I would be so worried about the individual variance when it comes to, well, player A got this deal, and I want or need something similar because of my ego. And there's no doubt in my mind that guys like Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher, just two names that come to mind who are no-nonsense coaches, are going to say, you want the money? Go out and perform. You know, go get 2 picks this weekend. Go get a kickoff return and impact the game, and the money will come your way. And your brand will only be as strong as our team's success is, and only as strong as your individual performances are.
Yeah, the better you play on the field, the more your name, image, and likeness is worth to companies around the area where you're playing or around the country. The better player you are, the more money you can demand. Tom, Mike Leach is speaking today, and Mike Leach is obviously known for his wild and crazy rants. What's one question or topic you'd like to hear him kind of go off on that's random and out there like he normally is?
Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about at this moment, but with some of the government documents that have been unsealed over the summer months, I am very much interested in his opinion of these documents that show and admit to unidentified flying objects by our military, and what he thinks of alien life forms as we know it, and are they more advanced, less advanced, or just as advanced as we are from a technological standpoint? And I would ask him, Mike, if aliens had the ability to come to Earth, would they want to?
And I think
that's a 7-minute answer.
Oh, for sure.
Well, and you got a built-in segue. Just go from air raid to UFOs. I mean, these things work in tandem together. Tom, we'll let you go, man. Appreciate your time and you stopping by and pitching some innings with us today. Hopefully do it during the football season. And good to have you in Hoover and in the stadiums this season.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys, and looking forward to catch up once games are actually underway. We got football to talk about.
You got it.
Appreciate it, Tom.
That's Tom Hart from the SEC Network joining us on Halftime. Hey, Wave Rural Connect is local, and they are a great local rural internet provider. Wave lives and works where you do and can provide fast fiber internet starting at $49.95 for just 100 megabits per second. You can also get a gigabit for $79.95. TV packages starting at $32.95. Fiber phones starting at $29.95. Wave Rural Connect helps your business, bringing urban quality services to your hometown. Give them a call at 833-4WAVE-RC. That's 833-4WAVE-RC. That's brought to you by Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative.